Right, Philip Madewell.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by. We actually had a pretty long day today. We
It's
went
been
to
an
the
event.
Westside Market, and gosh, I mean, it was a great day.
It was really fun.
Very eventful. Like, go ahead and just tell us like what you decided to make.
Okay,
for
so
this, yeah.
when Vince got a hold of me, he had asked me to be on the podcast, and I'm always kind of leery about doing that stuff. And I had caught one where he was making chicken paprikash, and I was like, "Hey, man, let's just have like a conversation, and we'll cook some food." And then, what's our theme? And he's like, "Well, Cleveland." I'm like, okay. And I thought about it, and actually, just for this podcast, for the record, I went out and I bought a boat. This is like last week.
Right.
I bought a boat, and I went out and learned how to catch walleye in the weekend. So in the past,
wait, you just learned how to catch walleye, and you got how much?
I'm
sorry if I'm killing the story.
4-man limits, 4-man limits for the past few days. I can't say I just learned. It's like, so I have two buddies, my buddy Neil and Justin. They both pretty much know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I kind of know what I'm doing.
Right.
I've just never dedicated any serious time to catching walleye. So like, we don't have a fish finder on the boat. I'm using nav charts off an iPad.
Really?
So I'm using lake contours, and we're finding where the fish are and off of lake contours on the iPad, and
That's
we're
cool.
following the contours and killing them. So yeah, I said I have all these walleye. Let's make a. And I didn't just buy the boat for the podcast, by the way. My buddy and I went in on that so that we could have something to catch walleye on, because they're that good. And I thought, let's make a Walleye Po Boy, and you thought that was a cool idea. So I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. So I mean, all right, we're gonna have to go back and have a little bit of history on
Some background.
who you are, because
I was born in Xenia, Ohio.
Somebody mistakenly called me a Renaissance man at some point.
No, I think that's a pretty accurate statement, man. I think you're pretty well a Renaissance man.
I think you are the Renaissance man. So
well, thank you.
But
I take that as a compliment.
No, because I think you're an amazing guitar player.
Thanks.
Your knowledge on
random useless stuff.
Well, the conservationism, right?
Yeah.
Like nature and things like that. I mean, right?
So like, that's a huge part of my life because of who I grew up with. My father was a ranger in Greene County Park System when I was born, and I was in Xenia, Ohio. He moved up to Geauga County Park System to be a ranger up here, and then worked his way up to director of Geauga County Park System, and then moved to Lake Metro Parks as a ranger, worked his way up to director.
Wow.
And then retired as director from there, and in I think 5 years he was at Toledo Metro Parks, like doubled the capacity and operational ability of their parks.
Nice.
So he just has some amazing environmental contribution, and so I've I've gotten to be like the feeder root off of the tree on that one, so to speak, where he is just like this really truly an innovator in his field, and many firsts in his field, and I got to be around a lot of people that most people never get to meet or be around.
Right.
All the way from like fly fishing and a fishing standpoint, which is a huge part of my life, and hunting and things like that, but to conservation and political side of that whole game, and land management and things like that. So I've gotten a pretty good spectrum.
Sure.
Because of that.
Well, I mean, you definitely seem, you are, I mean, I can talk to you about any subject, and you are at least, cognizant of the basics of anything, really. You know
I
what I mean?
like there's definitely some stuff that's really going to throw me off, but the thing is like, it's like, it might be a family trait, but like when I'm wrong about something, it's hard to admit it, but I will. But more importantly, I really tend to try to go and research it.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I don't mean like find news articles and things like that. I mean like find good, valid research.
Absolutely.
And I think that's important. And, so there's stuff that I'm completely blank on,
Yeah.
But if I ever get in a situation where I need to have a conversation about that, I'm going to prep myself, and I'm going to learn how to have that conversation.
So
right?
you know what you don't know. And what I thought going through like college and stuff like that, you know, and taking some more advanced courses. It's like in science and math, it's you realize, like, I used to think I was smart.
Right.
You realize how much you don't know.
Oh yeah.
That's what learning is. It's realizing the expanse of it all. I guess,
well, and I think it's like one of those, like, that is one of those, like, whoa, man, let's go out on a tangent kind of moments, right? But I think what's crazy is if you stop learning, you die.
Right.
Right. Like, if you're not learning a little bit every day, you're functionally not doing anything.
I agree. Yeah.
And so I feel like there's always something interesting or something engaging to be able to go and read about and learn about and study and witness, you know. And I think a lot of it is, I go out, like, dude, I've had some life experience, like, you know, it's, and, you know, some things that people don't necessarily get to do, I've done, like, you know, just kind of disappearing into mountains for a few days with a backpack. Like, that's a life-changing thing.
Sure. It's like a vision quest kind
almost,
of thing,
but
right?
like, so you start to view it as just kind of like if you look at your lifetime as a resume, as like, I look at activity as resume building.
Yeah.
So like, what my work is won't necessarily build my life resume.
Sure.
It'll build my work resume, which is a completely different thing. And while there are certain jobs that will bleed over into your life resume, like I had a lot of cooking experience and we got to play with that today.
Sure.
And that will enrich my life experience. But that's also fundamental survival. If you can't cook, you'll die.
So. And that kind of makes me think that, like, we just got a little deep philosophical right there, and we're supposed to be talking about making a po' boy.
That's just the way I am, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, let's go back into what we did today.
Yeah.
So
let's see. We went to the Westside Market.
We did that.
That would, I think, be the primary thing. I said, let's cook something. Let's go to the Westside Market and find it, or it'll be like we do in Ohio, surf and turf. Like, the original idea was I was going to bring some venison medallions and some walleye, and we're going to do like venison and walleye. And then you're actually the one that said po' boy.
I may have.
You mentioned po' boy, and I was like, that would be great.
And I mistakenly said that because I was thinking Polish boy.
Yeah, completely different sandwich.
Totally different. But I mean, there is some similar elements.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's,
when is a sandwich not a sandwich? I mean,
but there is the coleslaw and then the barbecue sauce and everything, whatever. But what you did, I think, was fantastic. So, I mean, we went out to the Westside Market. We had a great time. It was amazing how everybody there was so, like, engaging, accommodating and playing to like the camera and everything.
Those people know sales. Like, that's what that is. Those people 100% know sales, right? Beyond that, all of them are super genuine people, but like, they know how to do their thing. And there's never, if you're truly own your own business like that and you're operating off of that, if somebody comes by with a camera, hell yeah, you want to be on camera?
Sure.
Come here, let me show you what I got. Right?
Yeah.
You don't know what that person's reach is. Always assume someone can influence way more people.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought
Vera's bread was awesome.
Vera's bread. All of them.
The meat shops.
How
did you say that? The meat shop.
Oh yeah. See, I asked her too.
I know.
We have video.
If I saw it in front of me, I think I could say it. But it's like it's a Ukrainian meat shop in
Kura.
We'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
Like, I might look that up while we're fumbling
it's
here.
the Michael Simon thing.
They won the best salty food.
Yeah.
And it was their jerky, their hot jerky.
Well, he mentioned it, I guess, you know. So I guess that is winning something, really, because it probably put up sales and everything. But I mean, it was just so cool how, so nice everyone was. I don't know. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where it's like, first off, like, if you like food, and you live in Cleveland, and you've never gone to the Westside Market, you were seriously doing yourself a disservice. Well, that is overwhelming.
Just the architecture,
and it's underpacked right now.
Yeah,
right. Like, there's not, because of the COVID stuff. There's not nearly as many booths out, and there's not as much produce. But yeah, you're right. Like, architecture's beautiful. Everything's beautiful about it.
Right. Yeah, it's just old school. It's like an old,
Like, look, if you want to eat it, it's there, right?
Right. Yeah. No, and
we got some jerky from that jerky place. Oh,
the jerky was fantastic.
Oh my.
Yeah. Well, Michael Simon likes it, so I guess
right.
it's gotta be
he's an authoritative guy. That big boomy laughed.
But no, I thought I just thought it was a great experience, and then going over to Great Lakes Brewing Company. I mean, I think I'm gonna have like a separate video,
right?
Or I might show some stuff right here, but of what we did. So it's all documented on video. So
that was really fun. Actually, that was funny. Vince wanted me to play a song.
Yes.
And we went in the kind of garden area of the Great Lakes Brewing place.
Yeah.
And it had this beautiful room, and they were kind of leery about us playing, so we kind of decided we were just going to drink some beer.
Right.
And I was kind of just standing up to warm up, and like I walked into this room and the acoustics were awesome, and I look over and I see Vince picking up a camera, like, keep going.
Yeah.
And it was just beautiful, and like people were paying attention. It was really cool. And then like at the end of it, she looked at the camera and was like, "Hey, did you ever turn the microphone on?" And you're like, "Oh." Like we have some killer B-roll if I ever want to make a music video right now, and I'm pretty happy about that. That's it.
No, that was it was walking out of there, it was like a big bummer. But then we ended up getting the beer, which we're drinking right now. We got the Holy Moses.
Yeah, Holy Moses, delicious.
And
then we had what was his name? Sunrise Sing.
Oh yeah, he was doing a little Stand By Me.
Yeah, he did Stand By Me, and a little Lionel Richie.
Oh yeah.
And that was pretty cool. He had a cool voice. Yeah. Sundown. That was his name. Sundown. He was cool.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Nice. I guess he says he does
karaoke at Brothers.
Brothers, yeah.
Friday nights at 7. Go check out Sundown, man.
Have you ever played Brothers?
I haven't.
No.
I think I would do well there. Well, it's a cool spot.
You said you're doing somewhere soon, right?
I'm supposed to be I'll be at Debonair Vineyards in Madison, which shout out to those guys. They're the largest estate vineyard in Ohio and the oldest estate vineyard in Ohio. And they make really good beer. So like they make good wine, but I'm at the fit point in my life where I'd just rather drink beer. And I think I went
out there and I got the beer, what's the old Cleveland beer? The Pride of Cleveland.
The POC.
Yeah, so I
POC's
guess they
good,
do.
Man.
I guess they do.
Yeah,
it's not the POC, but they call it that.
It's
it's like an IPA, I think, is what they're doing.
It's a Pilsner, I think.
Is it a Pilsner?
Yeah, the POC is, I think, a Pilsner. It's a really easy to drink beer. That's like the go-to, like super easy to drink beer, and it is. It is the same. It is the same?
POC. It's the same recipe.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's it's real good.
Oh, nice.
I'm a big fan. I'm 99% sure it's the same. Like that's I've had that conversation, I think, with their brewmaster once or twice.
Okay, nice.
But I'm always playing music at a place that serves wine and beer, so it's like I don't know if I remember that.
Well,
right.
And you're so.
But I'll be there and then the harp on Saturday.
Yeah, so you play guitar and sing.
Yeah,
singer-songwriter kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so I want you touched on me doing a lot of things, and so right now I have my solo stuff, which is singer-songwriter, kind of like dirt road country, kind of almost.
Okay.
But I mean, I'll play everything from the Grateful Dead to modern country. So it's
right.
Elvis Costello falls in there every now and again. You get some Jimmy Page stuff, and it's just kind of all over the place, right?
Yeah.
That kind of is the theme of my life. But then I play in a duo with my dad, which is a great time. That's just Madewell Music, and that's on Facebook at madewellmusic.com and all that good stuff. But that's kind of cool because we can go back and forth generationally, and so that's been a really good time. I have a 4-piece band called the Dive Kings,
Oh, really?
That kind of does more of my thing, and that's with my dad and 2 other guys.
Nice.
And then I have a 3-piece band that I just started with Brian and Matt from Amaryllis out on the east side, and we're doing like bluesy stuff.
Nice.
Which was really just me like really wanting to play electric guitar.
Right,
so,
right.
So I was like, I'm gonna start like a John Mayer kind of bluesy country band. All right, let's go.
Sweet.
So I mean, all over the map, man.
Yeah,
all over the map. Just like everything else in life.
But you're no stranger to metal.
I am no stranger to the metal.
Which is crazy to me because I met you kind of like through a metal kind of background.
Well,
and,
yeah. We were in a metal band.
Yes, and then I come to find out. I mean, you pretty much know you can name a song, you're gonna play it, sing it, and
to some degree. I mean, there's definitely stuff that's not in my wheelhouse.
But it was just amazing when I heard you sing. Like country, kind of stuff. It's like your voice is perfect for it.
Thanks.
No, it's just. Well, I knew you as a guitar player. I'm like, whatever. And then all of a sudden,
I think the first time
it's like,
I ever sang it was just like in your living room or something.
Yeah.
And you're like,
you were here for a party or something. Yeah. And you were just entertaining the crowd. Thank you very much.
No problem, man. That's what I do. That's the only time in my life I've ever don't have anxiety is if I have a guitar in my hand in front of a bunch of people. As little sense as that makes.
Well, dude, today just walking down the street, West 25th and everything,
had a guitar in my hand for the most part.
Everyone was enjoying that.
Yeah, if I have a guitar in my hand, like I feel like a superhero, right?
Yeah.
That's like the great equalizer is like, Thor had the hammer, like I have a guitar, man. And like suddenly like there's elevation to that. So, but I mean, it was fun and we got to see some cool people and meet some cool people. So we had a big day. And then the meal cook itself was kind of a thing.
So let's go into that meal because and there's going to be another video that's like way more in depth on the exact meal and our adventure.
Like what's our language barrier here? Like, are we an adult podcast? Do we keep it PG-13? You can say whatever you want. So like, Vince says something, and I'm sure you'll see the video where he says something where he just takes the first bite of the sandwich, and the camera comes off, and he goes, "Dude, I'm not even sucking your dick, man. That's like the best sandwich I've ever had." And it's like, it's genuine when the camera shuts off. This girl looks in and goes, "Please don't."
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, "Yeah, for sure. Let's not go there." But it was a genuine moment. Like that's
I'll tell you. No, the sandwich was fantastic. We got the bread and all the dressings
everything
and
was
stuff
from there.
Yeah, from the Westside Market, and then you got the fish just from
walleye fishing, right?
Whatever. And I mean, dude, everything about it, like I said, it was like the bread was good, the slaw was good. Like you can taste every independent thing within it. But all together, you can also see everything coalesce, which I think was it's like that's what you think is a great dish. You know what I mean? Where everything comes together.
That makes me super happy, and I don't know if they'll see the audio from this.
Yeah.
From our conversation earlier in the day where I was talking about what a sandwich was to me.
Right.
And how a perfect sandwich, you should be able to taste like every individual layer of it, and that's what makes a sandwich special. So you saying that is like, dude, between that and the off-camera dirty compliment, like I'm going to have a large head for a day or two. I'm not going to lie. I feel like I can make a sandwich for anyone right now.
Right. No, I'll tell you what. It was fantastic. Well, it was done right. And like I said, it took us all day to make that sandwich, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't say, it's just a simple thing. No, there was a lot of
There's thought in there, right?
and put into that sandwich, and it was great, dude. I don't know, man. Now we're sucking each other's dicks.
Yeah, I mean, that'll happen. Not on camera, man. Not on camera.
Yeah. That's a whole different genre.
Yeah, that's not for this platform. Onward. But no, I think that, first off, we did put a lot of thought and effort into that, but if you watch it, it's 1,000% something you can make on a just straight up trip to the grocery store. Absolutely. And you can use any fish. That kind of battering process works well with any white fish for sure. And you can use any vegetables. The idea and premise is like you got a protein, you got a carb, you got some vegetables, you got some sauce, and you got a little sour, and you're gonna have a sandwich that's like a meal in a bun, and it fills you up.
Absolutely. I don't even think I finished it.
No.
It was just... And then you had the salad on the side, which was perfect. You didn't need anything else on the side.
Right. Yeah, and some
the
fried
salad
vegetables.
is just nice, roughage, I guess, to compliment, which was perfect, dude. It was perfect.
I fried some walleye up last night to try like the batter recipe out and make sure I had it right, and to eat walleye. Because there's no excuse needed. But like I had one of my clients had given me a bag of arugula.
Right.
And like I love arugula. It's good, it's peppery, it's spicy, and like that was my initial thought. I was like, we're gonna put arugula on this, and then that tomato dressing, and and then like the slaw thing hit me like at some point at like 2 a.m. last night.
And how'd you make the slaw? Because I've made slaw similar to what you've made. You obviously I made it a little bit more simple. I would just do
right.
Like
I didn't really put much in
vinegar, salt, and pepper. But so what'd you do here?
So, I wanted to grill it's not even wanted to. I sliced the cabbage a little thicker than I would for traditional slaw. So I did it like 1/4 inch thick cuts. So it would lay out in kind of like a flat, I'm not going to call it a steak because it's kind of bullshit when people like cut vegetables up and call it steak, because it's not, it's a vegetable slice. Right. So there's slices of cabbage, not cauliflower steaks, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
Like, no, it's a slice of cabbage, and then got the grill really good and hot. No oil, because you don't want to actually like really cook it. You're looking kind of just to char it. Yeah. And then like, what, you grilled it, so I'd say like, what, 2 minutes?
Well, it was a little longer than that. It was
5, maybe
5 minutes aside, and the grill was probably about 400 degrees, I would imagine. So yeah,
it got a good char on the cabbage and a good Maillard on the cabbage, and that's the caramelization reaction that's in the sugars in the cabbage. And since cabbage has so very little sugar, really, it has a really kind of a crisp bite to it, and it makes the cabbage a little soft. And while the cabbage was warm, we had the carrots, the heirloom carrots that we'd picked up that were like crazy different colors, which were really cool.
Tricolored carrots.
Yeah, tricolored carrots. Yeah. And a Vidalia onion, which I had chopped up, and we mixed that with the carrots and the Vidalia onion, and like I believe it was like little over 1/4 cup of white wine vinegar and apple cider vinegar, or I'm sorry, red wine vinegar and apple cider vinegar, like 2 tablespoons of honey, 1/4 cup of white sugar, salt. Like, there really wasn't much else to it.
And dude, and I love how you found it's
and
like
mayonnaise. It's like 1/4 cup of mayonnaise.
Yeah, you knew your way around my kitchen like almost better than I did. You were like pulling things. I was like, oh yeah, I got that, I guess. It was nice. No, it was. I
got comfortable. That's for sure.
He comes over with his own set of knives. That was
Well, you always bring your own guitar to the gig, man. Right? You don't rely on the last bands.
No, it turned out fantastic. It was definitely a great day. I wanted to go more. You're kind of like a gamesman, right? I mean, do you do a lot of your own hunt?
Yeah.
Like, do you catch
deer? A lot of deer. My roommate likes duck hunt. I like goose hunting a lot. So I mean, we obviously eat everything, and I also mushroom hunt pretty actively. Yeah. And like I like to look for wild asparagus and things like that. And
so there's wild asparagus
in Ohio.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really?
I'm not gonna say where to find it, but it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. There's a pretty, first off, like it's one of those, like I think like the reason that I was so gung-ho about this particular thing is because the whole idea of sub-CLE is that, or sub-CLE is that you're doing subcultures in Cleveland.
Right.
And I think a subculture is the outdoor culture. And
absolutely. Yeah, that's
right. And so, I think there's things in Ohio, like as we were talking about my friend who comes out from Colorado and she comes and visits and people are like, where are you going? She's like, Cleveland. Like, what the fuck are you going to Cleveland for? Like, who wants to go there? She's like, no, it's a really cool place. Like, Northeast Ohio is a really cool place. And for me, it's a Northeast Ohio thing. And obviously with the park background and all that, I got exposed to a lot of things that I think a lot of people are ignorant to existing.
Right.
Like, we have the #1 freshwater fishery in the world. Not in the country.
Yeah.
Not in the continental United States. Or in the world. Like, whole world. That's crazy. There's more game fish in Lake Erie than all the other Great Lakes combined.
Is it because it's so shallow, or
it's the southernmost lake. It is graduated from deep to shallow. Yeah. It has a good hardy population of bait fish and things that sustain populations of big fish. And we've had some crazy invasive species like gobies and zebra mussels and stuff, and it kind of has worked out in some way. The pollution that Lake Erie was known for, the invasive zebra mussels are filter feeders, so they were filtering out a ton of the pollution and algae.
So it worked out.
Yeah, the gobies that came in supposedly through a bilge, I believe they might have been released to eat zebra mussels, because sometimes people do stupid things. But I think those came in through a bilge too, and because we're a big shipping route.
Right.
But they eat zebra mussels, and people were super concerned that they were going to eat smallmouth bass eggs, and it turns out smallmouth bass loves gobies. So they're gorging on gobies, and we're getting these giant record-sized smallmouth bass, and walleye eat them, and everything eats them. They're the bottom of the food chain kind of thing.
So it was like an invasive species that actually benefited.
At least the sports fishing side of life,
What's
right?
the downside of that?
I really don't know. Like I don't know enough about that's food chain's effects, like how it goes down the food chain. Like I said, there was a downside to the introduction of zebra mussels. It's like they're damaging, they cover everything, they're sharp. If you walk on them, it hurts, blah, 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 blah. But the upside was, when we don't have an algae bloom going on, which we have more of because there's not as many zebra mussels as there used to be, which was an invasive species because gobies eat them.
Oh, that's right.
And the water clarity was like as deep as you want to look.
Right.
Like you can see... there's one spot that I go off of one break wall. It's like 16 feet on the depth sounder, and you can watch fish swimming around on the bottom of it like an aquarium, just 15 feet down, nice and clean. And that's one of those crazy things. It all balanced out, and now the lake is a super clean body of water comparatively.
So, but it still has because the alga blooms are because like over by Toledo.
Yeah, a lot of runoff.
And
it's like
whatever.
Deregulation of field barriers and things like that.
Right.
Contributing nitrogen runoff from fields, creating algae blooms. Yeah. It's not awesome. In general, not awesome.
No, because that was like what marshland back in the day.
Yeah.
And
so
then it was
actually one of the cool projects that my dad did is he rebuilt this place called McGee Marsh, and turned old reclaimed farmland back into estuary marsh. And it's like the largest freshwater estuary in the country, I think.
Nice.
Or maybe on the North Coast, like on the Great Lakes.
Right.
And yes, there's a North Coast.
Yeah.
So like it's this really cool park that reclaims that. And yeah, those buffer zones are super important to keeping, like nature has a natural filtration system kind of built in, and when you start to overlap those, you really start to do damage, right? And so like those buffer zones, the marshes and estuaries that bordered the lakes for so long, like all pretty much Middle Ridge Road out in the east end of Life is all lake till. It was all pre-lake swamp that used to be glacial till and beach before the lake had receded. So, that was all swamp. You're talking hundreds of thousands of acres of 3 mile deep swamp that bordered the lake. And that was just a natural filtration device, right?
Yeah.
Even you talk about them going to Toledo and Bowling Green. Bowling Green was named Bowling Green because it was the only green patch, right? It was swamp all around it. So, yeah. Having these natural resources here, like the idea to do the podcast was so cool because having these natural resources here was a chance for me to be like, hey, look, before you say with your head down, I live in Northeast Ohio, I live in Cleveland. Like, look, man, we have a lot of cool things.
Absolutely.
Like I said, number one freshwater fishery. Ashtabula, Ohio was the number one place in the world to hunt turkeys for a very long time. But the turkey populations in the rest of Ohio are catching up, so it's all kind of evening out. We had the number one steelhead fishery in the world, and I know a lot of saltwater guys will disagree with me, but any Onchius mykiss, which is a rainbow trout that lives in a lake and spawns in a stream and then goes back to the lake as a steelhead, is how it works.
I see.
It's not riverbound. And so, yeah, we have steelhead in Northeast Ohio, and it's a great stocked program from the state, and there's returning fish, and, it's a special kind of place when you can go out in one day and catch a steelhead, a walleye, and really in the like upper stretches of Grand River on the eastern Ohio, northeastern Ohio, anything.
Yeah.
So you could have 5 in a smallmouth, 5, 6, 7 species days.
Yeah.
Which is just cool. Like, you don't get
Right.
that. Like, it's just a cool thing. So between that and then the deer hunting and then the mushroom hunting and the wild foraging thing, yeah, being outside is the coolest part to me of all this. And Cleveland itself is awesome. That's why the Westside market was super dope. But
yeah, and yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you're on the eastern side of it, right? You know, so what, Painesville or
I'm in Menor.
Menor.
Yeah.
But did you grow up?
So
I don't know where you.
That's a long, strange trip, right? I was born in Xenia. My dad, like I said, Greene County Park Systems in Beaver Creek, Ohio, up to Geauga County Park Systems, and then to Lake Metro Park. So I was in Painesville last. So it was like kind of Middlefield, Burton, Chardon, or Burton, Middlefield, Chardon, Painesville.
Okay.
Concord. So that I was never really any further east. My uncle's family is all from east, like Ashtabula, and he has a farm out there. So I spent a lot of my time hunting and fishing in like Geauga County, Ashtabula County, the very extreme northeast Ohio. That's the like as northeast as one can go.
That's awesome, and to have a father that was what. Park system, right?
Yeah, he was the director of a park system. He did land management. And
I mean, that's totally cool. I mean, I had an uncle that would take us out when I was a kid, like just take us all throughout the parks, Chagrin Reservation and stuff like that. You know, and as a kid, you're just like, oh yeah, whatever, we're doing this, you know. But now I think of it, I'm like, dude, that was awesome. Like, that somebody did that. You know, and it was a great thing. And, you know, I don't know, man.
Well, it like instills this whole set of ideals. So like, I've been to 17 countries, been to most of the eastern United States, east of the Rockies. I love the adventure for sure, and I love traveling abroad. It's really cool to be around different cultures and kind of different things.
It's like you see things are different, but they're also the same.
Right.
You know?
But what's crazy is like, man, there are some places in the American West, and I lived out there for a couple of years, so that I might be a little biased, but like, there's some places in the American West that are as breathtaking as anywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
And
for sure. I agree.
It's really hard to appreciate how breathtaking they are until you literally have it in front of you, right? Like,
I think the northwest part of this country,
the Pacific Northwest,
absolutely beautiful.
That's on my list. I haven't been up there.
Like the Washington, Oregon, stuff like that. I mean, Alaska.
Oh yeah, so Alaska also on the list.
It's amazing. But yeah, but even where you're saying, like what you said, Colorado.
I was in Wyoming.
Okay.
So Wyoming is the second lowest density of population in any state behind Alaska. So there's like 1.73 people per square mile or something like that in the whole state. I think it's like 672,000 people. There's more pronghorn antelope in Wyoming than people.
Is it's like mountainous, or do they have the plains?
Kind of everything. And that was one of the reasons I liked it. So it's kind of laid out so like you have the Rockies over here, and the only sister range to the Rockies that's not associated, that's not a sister range, is the Bighorns. They're an independent range. Yeah. And the Bighorns are older than most of the Rockies. Right. So they're not quite as rugged. Now, don't get me wrong, there's like snow on top and rocks and no trees. Right. But I think the biggest one is Cloud Peak, which is like right around 13,000 feet tall. So it's not like any of the giant 14ers.
Of the Rockies?
No, not even. It's completely, it's its own separate mountain range.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it kind of cool. And so it's interesting because you have a big mountain range in the Tetons, which are a part of the Rockies, and then you have a large, few 100-mile expanse, and then the Bighorns. Right. So it creates this really interesting weather thing that goes on, right? So like you have the snowy and the Rockies kind of thing, and then
is it like foggy?
Well, no, it gets desert. So like the Bighorn
really?
Basin is between the Tetons and all of the Western Mountains and the Bighorns, and it's a legit desert. It's what you see in cowboy
Is that what they
movies.
call or is that what they call the Badlands?
Well, so the Badlands are further east of there. The Badlands are in like North or South Dakota.
Okay.
And the Badlands are another completely unique alien kind of place. Right. But you could drive. Let's start at the Badlands, right? So you start in like South Spearfish, South Dakota, and like Custer State Park, which is beautiful, and that's in the Badlands and the Black Hills. Yeah. So like you go to Badlands National Park, it's up north a little bit more. The Black Hills are south. The Black Hills are their own thing,
right?
And are beautiful. And then you start getting over, and you're in like this traditional plains, like cattle plains, and then you get into high plains where you're like 4,000 feet. And it's a lot of sagebrush and things like that.
Beastie Boys song, right?
4,000 feet or High Plains?
Or High Plains Drifter?
Oh, High Plains Drifter. That was a movie. It was a movie. Clint Eastwood movie.
This is the
microphone, the SM57 bottle opener. I like it. But yeah, you keep going that way, and then you get into the Bighorns. And the Bighorns, man, in July, everything that's grass is a wildflower. So, like, instead of being green, it's crazy, like, tie-dye hippie, fucking wavy plains of gray.
So, I gotta say, I did Mount Rainier.
Beautiful. And, same idea.
Dude, it was like a fairy tale.
Yeah.
You know,
it's surreal.
Just the flowers, and it was just the creek coming down, and fake. Everything's so green and crazy. I was like, what the fuck is going on here, man? Like, it was like...
It all looks fake. It feels like you're in a cartoon or something, man. You're riding on a horse out in the middle of nowhere and looking around and you're like, wow, the nearest person might be 10 miles away.
Yeah.
And everything is perfect looking.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Like,
man.
You get into those states, like all of them, like all of those big open expansive states, even like Washington and Seattle. If you go inland in Washington, it's exactly where I'm talking about. It's like the other edge of that, right?
Absolutely. Well, that was the Ponderosa, wasn't it?
Right, yeah.
Or like Tahoe.
Yeah, well, Tahoe's a spectacular thing in and of itself.
Oh, have you been?
No, that's a list thing.
I've been there. Well, I think I did it at the same time I was doing the Mount Rainier. Nah, it's a different time. I don't know. Whatever. But
that flight attendant life, though.
Yeah. Well, I was never a flight attendant, but I did work for an airline.
You would look cute in the outfit,
though. I do look cute in the outfit.
Oh, fair. He knows.
But at Tahoe, you hear about like Hawaii or Lake Tahoe. You hear about these places, and then you go to them, and I'll tell you what, God damn it, they're just as beautiful as you think they are. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. If you sit in your living room and you have a 74-inch Samsung curved ass LED TV and you sit 18 inches away from it and you watch like Unbranded. Have you ever heard of that movie?
No.
These dudes get these wild horses from a BLM, which is the Bureau of Land Management auction, because they have to manage the population of the horses. And so either these horses die or they get adopted. And these guys adopt 21 of these horses, train them. These are wild fucking horses, man. This is gnarly. And they train them and ride them from the American border of the Rockies in Mexico to the Canadian border.
Wow.
And if you watch something like that in HD where you have these huge sweeping, and I picked that specifically because they ride that whole expanse from like New Mexico to Montana.
Right.
And dude, you sit in front of your TV with 10 inches away on 4K or 8K.
Yeah.
Like whatever the craziest, newest, highest thing, right? Like the more abbreviations, the better the TV.
Right.
And kind of look left and right. You're like beginning to scratch the surface of what it feels like to stand somewhere and feel like you're so insignificant it doesn't matter.
When I was in Alaska, we hiked up this mountain like a few miles, and I was just standing in between, and looking down on this valley across to this other mountain, and I looked around, and then you look into the seaway and you can see like whales.
Yeah.
Like, coming up out. And then
is this real life?
And I'm like looking around and I'm just like getting dizzy because everything looks so huge.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. And Alaska's the only time I ever Colorado definitely, there's some spots
when you get out of the city,
where,
it's like that.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks of Colorado as Denver, but Colorado, the reason that Denver is so
I've been in Vail and stuff like that, which is,
the reason Denver is so populated in that eastern is because the further west you get, the more impossible it is to habitate those places.
Right.
It gets wild up in there, man.
Well, Denver itself is flat.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
Front Range, man.
Flat, yeah.
Yeah, it's first high flat plateau, right?
Yeah. But then that's right there.
Oh, yeah. Denver's a cool town because you're half an hour away from nothing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
You can drive half an hour outside of the suburbs and be in serious mountains.
Yeah, I spent 4 months in Denver, and it was cool, man.
Yeah,
it was a cool spot. But
I like Bozeman. Bozeman's super cool, and like Belgrade and Billings. Billings is a cool town, regardless of what anybody says. Like, they have sugar beet processing plants, which is kind of crazy. These giant sugar beets, piled in piles. But there's so many cool places out there.
Yeah,
and I think everybody owes it to themselves to find somewhere to go to feel insignificant.
Yeah.
Because it's just a greater picture thing, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, just doing the Alaska thing. I was a little I was just like, yeah, whatever, I can do it. Let's do it. And then once you're out in the middle of nowhere, though, then you're
right?
like, you know what I mean? Then you're like, wait a minute, this seemed better,
right?
But I had a great time.
Well,
but you do start to you're like, whoa. You understand your insignificance in the world.
It's an important thing, man. Like, the less connected you are to everything, the more connected you can be to you.
Agreed.
Which is something that people forget. Like, people go camping, man, and look, if I'm gonna say it, it's not camping unless you don't have cell phone signal.
Right.
You have to hike in a significant ways away from humanity to get to it.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just sleeping in a tent. You're not camping, right? You're going to a place that has an option.
Right.
Go to a place you don't have an option. If you really want a life experience, watch some YouTube videos, read up, work out, get in decent shape, right? Get some cardio, and throw on a backpack, put everything you need to conceivably survive for 7 days, and go stay in the woods for 10 days.
Oh, yeah.
And I say that intentionally. Everything you need to survive for 7 days and stay for 10. Because you should be, with your studied knowledge of the adventure you're going on, perfectly capable of procuring food in some way, shape, or form, be it fishing, gathering, you want to go find a bunch of huckleberries? Okay, let's go. But plan it out and make it stretch and make it work for that extra 3 days. Within limits. Obviously, I'm not telling anybody to go do anything stupid, but I mean, you start eating less.
You see those naked and afraid.
Yeah, that's insane.
But I mean, it seems
good survivalists. Don't get me wrong.
Well, it just seems like it's incredibly difficult for them to find food and stuff.
It is. But if I'm going on first off, they're naked. They don't have shit with them. If you pack up 5 mountain houses, right, you can make that last for if you pack up 15 mountain houses in the bottom of your backpack with a stove, you can make that last a week.
Right.
I used to carry around MREs just for shits and giggles and just hang out in the mountains with one of my buddies. But you can make it work. If you come prepared and with the things that you need, not buck ass naked with a Bowie knife, right? You can be pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
And you can figure it out, pick your spot you're going to camp that's right by a stream. I'm going to bring a fly rod. I'm going to catch fish.
Do you think you'd be able to catch the fish?
Oh, I've done it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be able to just live off the land.
I've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not...
So, you can go on Naked and Afraid. We can see, everything
naked.
You're working with.
I don't want anything to do with naked. See, here's the deal. I'm going to go out as prepared as I can be, right? And still be able to move.
But I'm saying, once you run out of everything that you brought with you, would you be able to...
Yeah.
But would you be able to just live out there forever, is what I'm saying.
I'd be comfortable with that.
You think? You think so?
Absolutely.
Eat and berry, you know what to eat and everything. And
well, I mean, if you live somewhere and you're spending any time in the outdoors, you kind of have a responsibility to know what's safe and what's not, right?
Yeah.
You can't just oh yeah, I'm gonna so that's what happened to what was that John Krakauer book, Into the Wild?
Yeah.
That's what happened to that guy. He really didn't know what he was doing.
Right.
And at the beginning of the book, you knew that guy was going to die. like
Right.
without ever knowing the story. You're just like, oh, this guy has no clue what he's doing.
Oh, right. Yeah, they frame it like that.
Well, I mean, it's just like he's like, yeah, I'm going to sell all of my worldly goods and move into the woods, and it's just like, okay, you're going to one of the craziest environments in the world. Like, I wouldn't want to go survive there forever. Right. Like, that would be hard. Like, that's something you want to go into wickedly prepared for, overly prepared for.
Right.
And he doesn't. So, like, no, I'm saying prepare yourself. Get yourself some knowledge. Learn something. Take a survival class if you want, but like spend some time outside and, stay a day past your comfort zone. Not a million days past your comfort zone, but stay a day past your comfort zone.
Right.
Because you really don't start to unwind until like day 3.
Right.
Like that's when you're starting to like, when you're disconnected, your cell phone's off. Like I have cell phone service. Bring your cell phone with you.
So how do you know what to eat and what not to eat?
You learn. You read. Like there's Audubon field books of things that are edible and not, plants and animals. And like, I guess I was kind of blessed to grow up in a house where my dad was like on that.
Well, your dad's
he's a naturalist. Like, So like, it was. But I figured out a lot of that myself too. It was like there were certain things like we'd hunt morel mushrooms. Morel mushrooms are like the easiest mushroom to recognize. Like, oh, that's an edible mushroom.
Yeah.
There's not much that really looks like them, and as you get older, you're like, well, is there other edible mushrooms? Yeah, there's a ton. You start looking into it and figuring out what you can do to recognize them, and suddenly the more you know about it, the more you educate yourself about it, the more confident you are in it, the more confident you are in your abilities to be able to draw on that knowledge if you ever need to.
Right.
So you stay with it and gather and hunt and.
Yeah, it's I would just feel so nervous, like, oh yeah, I think it's good. I don't know, I don't know.
Well, that's
if you know.
Right. Well, when you're learning, you consult people. You take spore prints and you consult the right way to do things, and you keep doing it until it's just like nature has its own flashcards, man. Like, you just have it in front of you. You really have to just kind of like do some comparison and learn. Yeah. And you could totally do it. Like, dude, I'll take you mushroom hunting.
Yeah,
we can go do that.
It's just kind of funny because like I eat all kinds of things, all kinds of seafood. Oysters, sushi, all things that all kinds of crazy vegetables, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, things that
don't like mushrooms.
Yeah, not a big fan of mushrooms.
Oh,
man. Yeah,
you're a sellout.
The thing is, it tastes like something that I think I've said this before.
Is it taste or is it texture?
It's definitely taste because
so if it's
texture
taste,
doesn't bother me.
So if it's taste, you like mushrooms. You just haven't had a mushroom you like yet.
So I've tried different mushrooms. I remember I liked this girl, and I was like, ooh, I'll get the steak with the mushrooms on it, and
creminis or something.
Or whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna try it because whatever. Still didn't like it. It was all right. It wasn't bad, but I don't know. They just had this taste to me. I don't know if it's like genetic or whatever, but if it's genetic, I don't know. People say because I'm Italian, I should like mushrooms or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what that means.
There's lots of truffles in Italy, man.
And I don't know. It just has this flavor to it that I don't know what it is, man. I wish I can get over it.
So
honestly.
What's super interesting about that is like you're saying like mushroom.
Yeah.
Is like mushroom. So like,
well,
dude,
they all have a similar flavor though.
No.
Yeah.
Not even a little.
No, there is because even
like
those
all the ones you buy in the store have a similar flavor.
So. I've had like the ones that they give you, like I was in San Francisco for a bit of time, and I used to get this ramen thing all the time, and they would give you the long stringy looking mushrooms,
the big long thin one.
Yeah. Didn't like those.
Right, those were going to be very mushroomy.
Yeah, not a fan.
Right.
I mean, the only ones I can honestly tolerate are those ones that they put in salads, like the
little white butt mushrooms.
Yeah,
we have a big version of that here.
Yeah. Because they taste like nothing,
really. Or horse mushrooms, and they're like this big.
But and it literally tastes exactly and it's a different thing.
Literally tastes exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then you cook them, and they taste more mushroomy, right? And then you lose your interest.
That's right.
But then you have to like try like an oyster or a chicken of the woods that tastes more chickeny than mushroomy. Right? It's weird. It has meat texture.
I know, yeah.
So you have to stop thinking of them as vegetable. Like it's
No,
they're not.
I know they're
individual.
not. Yeah, I mean, I've taken enough biology classes to know
Right,
that we actually have a closer. We are closer to a mushroom than a vegetable
but we've
is
been
to a mushroom.
so like trained to
Right.
like think of it as fruits and vegetables, like because
Right.
you know, like you see that stupid food chart that they used to give us. They had the broccoli and the little mushroom on the bottom of it, you know, with the carrot. Like, but the thing is like, just like plants and animals, it's its own entire order, and every single one of them is wildly different. Like wildly different. Then yeah, you get to like some that like they'll start to taste the same, and then you have to also realize like cultivated mushrooms don't taste the same as wild mushrooms.
Whatever they put on pizzas, those are the worst.
Yeah, that's the same mushroom that you like when it's raw.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
As soon as you cook it, yeah.
Right. So like, yeah, you got to find it's like anything else. It's like music, man.
Yeah.
You can't just call it I don't like music. It's right. You got to find your genre. Right, so you got to find your genre of mushrooms, and it's out there somewhere.
Well, you know what? I hope you can make me see the light, because I'm telling you, because like I've said this before, like Italian restaurants, like really nice Italian restaurants, everything in there has mushrooms on it, and I hate to
truffles.
If you're in a nice restaurant, I don't want to say because the chef made the dish the way it's supposed to be. Right. I'm not going to say keep this off or whatever. Right. You know what I mean?
It's more offensive, by the way, if you pull them off to the side. I'd much rather you just say, yeah, don't put them in there.
Well, I just don't order it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'll just order something else. You know what I mean? Which usually leaves me with like chicken parm or whatever. You know?
Right. I have a really wicked chicken parm recipe. We can do someday.
Oh, see, yeah. And I'll tell you what. One of my favorites is the lemon piccata.
Oh, lemon piccata is really good too, and I have a pretty solid recipe for that.
Yeah,
too.
no, I can make it pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't know. I make it the way I like it,
which is probably pretty good because you're pretty good at that, man.
But
I remember the ribs.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. I made those a few times. But,
I love those ribs.
Yeah,
they're good.
But no, piccata. But even you go to some nice Italian restaurants and they'll put mushrooms in the piccata.
Yeah,
and I'm like, come on, man. Why'd you have to ruin a good
Why'd you have to take this one thing away from me? It's all I had left.
Oh man.
See, that's why you just stick to cannoli. Just go the dessert route.
Ooh, cannoli.
We walked by so many cannoli today, and I was just like, it's like my favorite thing in the world.
Is it?
You can go to a Leshy's and get like a little tub of the cannoli filling, and then they have broken cannoli cookies to dip in it.
So right down the street here, there's a place called Barona's, and they have some pretty good cannolis there. And cassata cake.
I love cassata cake.
Yeah, they have the
I love making cassata cake. That's a glorious thing.
See, and I never even because I knew the Cleveland cassata cake. Here we go, a little Cleveland. So Cleveland cassata cake is the white cake.
Yep.
With the custard
and strawberries.
Right.
Yep, and toasted almonds.
Whereas a traditional cassata cake is I think it's like a fruit cake or something.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's actually we should look that up. I'm super curious. We can't not finish that one.
No, it's more like it's got ricotta. Yeah. It's like a ricotta kind of cheesecake with like fruit in it. And the only place a cassata cake is like the one in Cleveland is in Cleveland. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so like cassata cake, or cassata siciliana, it's traditional sweets from Sicily. Yeah. Cassata consists of round spun cake moistened with fruit juices or liqueur and layered with ricotta cheese and candied fruit.
Right.
A filling also used with cannoli. Well, kind of with cannoli. Yeah, ricotta for sure with cannoli. So they just really are kind of just using different layers. Like
it's really a completely different thing. Though.
It is, but kind of so like the white cake moistened with liquor, like we use rum, on a cassata or limoncello,
or like a tiramisu.
Yeah,
they moisten it with the coffee or whatever.
Yeah,
espresso.
Yeah, see that's delicious too. I'll eat the shit out of tiramisu. But the ricotta would be a strong flex there. That'd be a good. I've never had it with ricotta cheese.
I think that would be my grandmother would make like these ricotta cakes.
Yeah,
it was like a ricotta cheesecake or whatever.
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, and was probably more. That was probably closer to a casata cake.
Yeah.
Than the white cake with the strawberry and the custard.
Right. Oh yeah.
Which is delicious. Though.
Right. So we used to one of the restaurants I worked at. We used to do pastry dough and cut it into squares and bake it. So it was like little baked squares, and then we'd layer like rum whipped cream and custard that we made in between layers of the cake of the pastry.
Yeah.
And then encased it in whipped cream and then covered it in toasted almonds.
Nice.
And like had a layer of strawberry rum cheesecake. Yeah, like, and that was one of those ones that was just like this super light little tiny flavor bomb.
Yeah.
And that was so good.
Nice.
I love cooking. It's a good thing.
No, you know what? We could probably go on.
We could
probably go on forever. I mean,
yeah. Well,
sometimes
we can just save it for the next one.
Right. Yeah. Well, you're going to be back probably next week now.
Probably. Probably. Yeah.
Well, actually, you have to come back Tuesday because we
have some overdubbing to do.
We have a few things.
When I get excited, I walk fast. So yeah, and maybe like don't face microphones, especially in places with lots of people, because I'm kind of like just like a crow in a room with shiny objects. So we have some editing to do, some dubbing.
A little bit. So I don't know. Is there anything? I mean, you got a show coming up.
I do.
I mean, we can end with this kind of.
Sure.
You know.
So if you go to madewellmusic.com, MADEWELL music.com, that's my dad's webpage, and it has a little section, kind of a little section.
I'm going
to
to interrupt you. I'm sorry, man. I wanted to say earlier how I think your dad's the coolest guy in the world. I actually have met him.
Yeah, you have met him.
At the he seems like a genuinely nice guy, but the stories and how highly you talk of him and what you have learned and the man you have become.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool dude.
I think I just got to give it up to...
Props to Steve.
Yeah.
Props to Steve. He's the man.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, go to his website. He's got 3 albums. He was, at least on Reverb Nation, the top listened to Americana.
Nice.
And folk Americana singer-songwriter.
That's awesome.
Indie artist in like on the whole site. His radio play in like 7 countries, and like he's really like, what was that, big in Japan? No,
right.
They really like him in England. But so the website's cool. There's a couple of my original things on there. It also links to our Facebook, which has my stuff and some of my original songs on it. I'll be at Debonair Vineyards with the Dive Kings on this Wednesday, apparently.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Maybe.
Fingers crossed.
Right.
No COVIDs. And then I'll be at, hopefully, this is the bigger hopefully, because they haven't had shows yet this year, the Harp in Cleveland. That's like my big, I really love playing that place. It's beautiful. I don't know if you've ever been there, but
great place for a sunset.
Beautiful sunset patio, man.
Yeah.
And like one of the best sunsets in Cleveland, probably. So I'm
hoping the greatest view of the salt mines.
Yeah, technically, right?
If you could just block those out and just see past them to the sunset and the lake. You know?
They're still there. You just know they're still there.
Right.
But I mean, so yeah, I'll be at the Harp on the 1st of August, and then Debonair's this coming Wednesday. So that's it. Go check out, subscribe to this podcast and listen to it every week.
That's the first subscribe plug.
Yeah,
I've done.
Well, you need to have a subscribe plug, man. Like if you liked what I said, I will never be back.
Subscribe
no,
right here.
Yeah, we're doing the YouTube one, right? It's over here somewhere. Hit the notification button.
Thanks, man.
But yeah, Madewell Music and Madewell Music on Facebook, and all of our schedules will be up there. And yeah, and let's see, I got to do this right. AIM Performance Training. I'm a personal trainer there.
Oh yeah.
Powers Roofing and Exteriors. I'm a sales guy there. So if you need a roof or you need to get in shape, give me a call.
There you go. All right, man. Take care. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
Sub CLE. We're out.